No Time to Die is going to see the franchise bringing two major changes and possibly permanent changes that are going to change the face of James Bond movies forever. Yes, they are noble in nature, the changes that is, but the question is the viewing public going to accept these changes? Let me start by reading this extract to give you a background to what I'm talking about. It says, at Craig's request, Killing Eve writer and creator Phoebe Waller-Bridge provided a script polish in April 2019 to add more humor and to make the characters more believable. Waller-Bridge is the second female screenwriter credited with writing a Bond film after Johanna Harwood co-wrote Dr. No and From Russia with Love. Producer Barbara Broccoli announced that Bond's attitude towards women would change in No Time to Die as a response to the Me Too movement. Waller-Bridge argued that the character of Bond had to stay true to its original creation and that it was the responsibility of the wider film industry to treat women more respectfully. So basically, there is no more Mr. Casanova. You know James Bond with the way he seduces women, hits and runs, one-night stands, type of womanizer, type of whatever behavior. This is what Barbara Broccoli is saying James Bond is going to drop. So you're probably going to see him more as a character who falls in love and all that, boring stuff. So let me know in the comments below, do you think that this is a change that you want to come to James Bond? A lot of women love James Bond because of his machismo. Well, say goodbye to that. You're now probably going to get the boring family man. Who knows, maybe in future you might actually see James Bond with the family raising some kids. I don't think that is actually going to go well. I think it's going to take some of the bite out of the flick. So let me know what you think about that. Anyway, for those who are surprised at why a movement would make someone like Barbara Broccoli change the face of a franchise on its 25th installment, let me actually expand a bit on what the Me Too movement is about for the benefit of those who don't know it. The Me Too movement, with the large variety of local and international related names, is a movement against sexual harassment and sexual assault. The phrase Me Too was initially used in this context in social media in 2006 on MySpace by sexual harassment survivor and activist Tarana Burke. Similar to other social justice and empowerment movements based upon breaking silence, the purpose of Me Too was initially voiced by Burke as well as those who later adopted the tactic, is to empower women through empathy and strength in numbers, especially young and vulnerable women, by visibly demonstrating how many women have survived sexual assault and harassment, especially in the workplace. Following the exposure of the widespread sexual abuse allegations against Harvey Weinstein in early October 2017, the movie began to spread virally as a hashtag on social media. On October 15, 2017, American actress Alyssa Milano posted on Twitter, "If all the women who have ever been sexually harassed or sexually assaulted wrote Me Too as a status, then we would have give people a sense of the magnitude of the problem," saying that she got an idea from a friend. A number of high-profile posts and responses from American celebrities Gwyneth Paltrow, Ashley Judd, Jennifer Lawrence, and Uma Thurman, among others, soon followed. Widespread media coverage and discussion of sexual harassment, particularly in Hollywood, led to high-profile firings as well as criticism and backlash. So Barbara Broccoli is trying to address this by introducing us to a very tame James Bond. Let me know what you think about this. Yes, it's noble, but I think Waller-Bridge is right when she says that it's up to the rest of the industry to actually respect women in that sense. Let me know what you think about in the comments, but I think this is going to affect the James Bond movie in terms of its sting just a little bit. The second change I've already mentioned, Waller-Bridge is talking about adding a bit more humor to the James Bond franchise. I don't think this will work because we know James Bond is a ruthless assassin who's sort of like, actually very sophisticated. So it's that type of movie that you watch when you want to feel like, you're a top dog agent. You don't want to be laughing like you're in an Austin Powers theater watching one of the Austin Powers movies. I think this is another mistake that is probably going to do harm to the movie if this change is actually done in excess. To give you a picture of what I'm talking about, let's look at the top comedy spy movies. You're looking at Kingsman, The Secret Service, Despicable Me 2, True Lies, Top Secret. Looking at these movies and how things go, yes, I know that the humor in James Bond will be kept to a minimum, but why do you want to even introduce that aspect? I don't think it'll work out. These are two major changes that I am sure that you guys don't like now and will not like when you watch the movie. I don't like them too. Let's talk money. It is very exciting that Rami Malek is actually part of the cast as a super villain, and I think that he's going to do that role justice. But looking at the trailer, I don't think it has enough to crack $1 billion at the box office. You know that the James Bond franchise did that for the first time on Skyfall, and No Time to Die for a few seconds there was looking like it might also take it to that level. Yes, they did very well in the trailer by not actually giving us an idea of what the movie is about. I mean, we know at the start that, Daniel Craig is actually brought out of retirement. Then we know he's going to be fighting Rami Malek, who has probably abducted the scientist that is being talked about in the movie. But we know nothing about what's going on in between. But that said, an overview of that plot would tell us that it would not crack $1 billion. I don't think even Rami Malek is actually going to help No Time to Die go past that mark. I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. But I don't think it's on Skyfall levels. Maybe the economy or the current marketing abilities of these companies will help this movie crack it like that. But I doubt. 1 billion seems like a tall order for these guys. It might actually even fail to beat Spectre. Maybe it will beat Spectre. I don't know. It's sort of like on the same level. Anyway, in terms of ratings, I think it's going to do somewhere between 7.2 to about 7.7 because of quite a number of factors. It's not going to be better than Skyfall, that I can tell you, but it will definitely be better than something like Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, which comes in at a rating of about 7.2, 7.3. So somewhere in between Mission Impossible Rogue Nation and Skyfall is where you expect this movie to fall. And looking at the top 10 movies in the spy film franchise or spy film genre, Number 1, you've got North by Northwest. Number 2, Casino Royale. That's James Bond. Number 3, The Bourne Ultimatum. Number 4, The Bourne Identity. Number 5, Notorious. Number 6, The Day of the Jackal. Number 7, Kingsman, The Secret Service. Number 8, Skyfall, another James Bond movie. Number 9, Argo. Number 10, Goldfinger, another James Bond movie. So the James Bond movies are 1, 2, 3 or 4. Is it 1 Goldfinger, 2 Skyfall, 3 Casino Royale? So you know that there's a very good chance that this movie might probably come in at number 10 and replace Goldfinger or Argo. Argo is a Ben Affleck movie, if I didn't miss that. And yeah, it's very possible to be a Ben Affleck movie, but Affleck has had some nice movies, so you never know. So ballpark, I think it'll probably come in the top 15, but not the top 10. Somewhere near Skyfall, but above Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Looking at the distributor, Universal Pictures actually knew that this movie is a potential gold mine, and to that end, it actually fought Sony Pictures, Warner Brothers, 20th Century Fox, and Annapurna Pictures for the rights to distribute the movie internationally and at home media in the United States. It actually won this, and looking at how Universal Pictures has done in the spy movie category in the past, it's got 3 movies in the top 10: The Bourne Ultimatum, The Bourne Identity, and The Day of the Jackal. So it can actually, pull it off again with No Time to Die. No Time to Die is actually in good hands there. So that sort of like makes us lean positively towards the movie. Then looking at the plots, No Time to Die, like I said, it's got a pretty simple plot when compared to some of the contenders in the top 3. The top 3, we say there's North by Northwest, Casino Royale, and The Bourne Ultimatum. I'll give you an example of Casino Royale, where James Bond is trying to find Le Chiffre, Lashif's clients who are terrorists. So he actually goes after Lashif, tries to bankrupt him once or twice, ends up winning money. Lashif ends up actually kidnapping James Bond, torturing him. After torturing him, he doesn't release the money. Then Vesper betrays Daniel Craig. At the end of the day, Daniel Craig actually noticed that Vesper had double-crossed him to save his life. It was a movie which was full of a lot of twists and turns, and I do not think that No Time to Die will come up to that level. So, yeah, plot comparison, it's got a good plot, but it's a bit shallow compared to the top. That's why I'm saying it getting into the top 5, top 10 is a bit of an ask. Then the director is Mr. Fukunaga, who has not actually worked on a theatrical release, but to be honest with you, I think he's got a good chance of actually making this movie do well, because if you look at his past, he's actually directed True Detective, the first season, which had a rating of 9 out of 10, and he's the first American director to actually work on a James Bond franchise. And while it's worrying that he was chosen after a lot of directors had turned down this movie to be the director, you have to note that he has done movies with very good ratings that have received a lot of critical acclaim. If you look at Beast of No Nation, Jane Eyre, and Sin Nombre, they're all coming with a rating of at least 7.3, topping up at 7.7. So this is a guy who, to some extent, knows what he's doing, but the move to theatrical releases is always going to be an issue. So that'll actually dampen my prediction of what he can produce for us. So like I said, might not crack the top 10, will definitely not crack $1 billion, but it will be a movie worth watching, maybe just to see Daniel Craig up against Rami Malek. But the plot, I don't think the plot is actually going to blow you away. So this is my reaction to the No Time to Die trailer. Please subscribe to the channel. You can comment, like the video, and share it with your friends, and we can continue to talk, because I've got a whole host of reactions coming up, and I'll be developing other content as I go. It's the Critique signing out. Cheers.